Hi everyone, I'm Michelle and welcome to the De-Stress Your Body Yoga Flow. This is a sequence that I like to use after a day behind the desk or after driving for a long period of time or even after just sitting down for a long time because we're really just going to focus in on loosening up any tension in our upper body, so in our neck or in our shoulders, and also just waking up the spine a little bit. And I'll even throw in a bit of hip mobility to just get us nice and moving after being in a static position for the whole day. So if you'd like to come to an easy sit, just a cross-legged position, if it feels comfortable to have a pillow underneath you just to raise your pelvis off the floor a little bit, feel welcome to do that. And we're just going to focus in on the breath for a moment, just noticing how you're breathing. If you want to close down your eyes, feel welcome to do that. And just taking some of the deepest breaths that you've taken today. Breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And taking a few more of these in your own time. Breathing in and out. And one last time. And out. And we'll start off today with some seated cat-cows, just to wake up the spine a little bit, get us moving. And so as you breathe in, bringing your hands towards your hips and tucking your elbows behind you and looking up towards the sky. And breathing out, bringing your hands towards your knees and arching at the back. Tucking your chin into your chest. And again, breathing the arms back. Pulling those elbows towards each other. And breathing out, hands to the knees, arching the back. And tucking the chin into the chest. And one last time. And breathing out. And doing a similar movement, but this time as you breathe in, extending the arms out beside you, looking up to the sky, and breathing out, coming back and giving yourself a nice big hug. One more time, breathing in, arms spreading wide, and breathing out, giving ourselves a nice hug. Coming back to your easy seated position, just going to shake that out a little bit and start with a few gentle shoulder rolls. So bringing your shoulders up towards your ears and then rolling them back, elongating the neck. And rolling them forward and up again towards your ears and rolling them back. And back again, and this time changing direction, so coming from the back and rolling forward. And rolling forward, breathing out, breathing in, pulling them towards the ears, and breathing down. Settling down that movement, shaking it out again if we like. And this time we're going to clasp the hands behind our back. We're going to make a little fist behind our back and roll the shoulders back, stretching the arms out and bringing your fist to your left hand side. Now we're going to pretend that there's two magnets on our elbows so that they're trying to come towards together, not too much. You don't want to strain your shoulders too much, but just that slight pull towards each other, giving us that nice stretch in our right shoulder. And if it feels nice, to lean your head over to the left hand side and elongate your neck, pulling your right shoulder down towards the ground. Just hold here for a few breaths. And releasing that fist, shaking everything out again. And we're going to do the other side. So making the fist behind you and rolling the shoulders back, bringing that fist to the right hand side this time. And remember, we're pretending that our elbows are gently magnetized, and leaning your head over to the right hand side and pulling the left shoulder down towards the ground. And hold here for one more breath. And releasing that movement and shaking the arms out. Next, we're going to come to an all fours position, so tabletop position. Bringing the hands below your elbows and your knees below your hips, sorry, your hands below your shoulders. If you find that this is too difficult on your wrists, feel free to bring the hands forward a little bit. I find that this gets quite tough on my wrists, and if at any point you feel like coming out of this, feel free to just push back into a child's pose. But for now, we'll be coming into a tabletop position and doing some gentle cat-cows to wake up the spine even more. So tucking from the tailbone, very slowly, or feeling yourself arch towards the sky, little bit by little bit, with your head coming up very last. Breathing in, and as you breathe out, tucking the head, and vertebra by vertebra, arching your back and bringing your tail towards the ground. And doing this movement again, so lifting the tailbone and starting to bring your spine towards the ground, lifting the head and tucking the head, arching the spine towards the sky, tucking the tailbone last. And feel free to do this over the next 2 breaths. And the next time you find yourself in a neutral position, so back to tabletop, start to bend your side body to the right, so looking towards your right hip. Pull your right hip towards you and look towards it, bringing a nice stretch to the left hand body and arching in on the right. And on the next breath, switching over, so pulling the left hip forward and looking back towards it. And again, bending in towards the right. And back towards the left. And when you're done with that, pushing back to a child's pose for 2 breaths. Coming back to tabletop, we're going to pivot the left knee outwards at a 90 degrees. So we're going to act as though it's a little kickstand that's going to be supporting us. And putting all of our weight into our left hand, extending the right leg long and bringing the right arm up to the sky. So we have this nice little mini side bend, really just elongating through the right hand side. And breathe here. Coming back down to a tabletop, we're going to do that again on the right hand side, so kicking the right side out like a kickstand, elongating the left leg, and breathing the arm to elongate the left body. And coming back to a tabletop. So on your next breath, start to bring yourself backwards towards your knees, but instead of going all the way to a child's pose, we're going to tuck our toes underneath us. And as you push back into a downward facing dog, bringing those heels towards the floor and pedaling out your dog, because this is our first downward dog of the day. Take a few breaths here. And And slowing down that movement on your next breath in, come forward to plank. Breathe out, chaturanga, tucking those elbows into your body, lowering towards the floor and lifting up to an upward facing dog, tucking those toes underneath you. And pushing back to a downward facing dog. On your next breath, bringing your right knee in towards your chest and coming down into pigeon pose. So your right knee behind your right wrist and your left foot behind your left wrist. And if you would like to stay up on your back toes, you can just come down to forearms and hold this quite dynamic pigeon pose. But if you feel that you just want to relax into this pose, bring your knee towards the floor, untuck the toes. You can stay up on forearms, or you can release all the way down. And this is not only a nice hip flexor, but it does bring some relief to your glutes as well, particularly your right glute in this instance. And just remember, when we are holding our pigeon pose, we want to make sure that our toes are flexed, pointing, so that our ankle is at a 90-degree angle, because that will be protecting our knees. And coming back up to your hands and pushing back, bringing that knee towards your chest again and pushing back to a down dog. Shake it out again. Settling down that movement, we're going to come into pigeon on the left hand side. So bringing the left knee towards your chest, back behind your left wrist, foot below your right wrist. And if we wanted that dynamic pigeon again, staying up on tucked toes and coming down to forearms. You can rock this pigeon back and forth if that feels nice. Brings quite a nice stretch to your right hip. And again, if you want more of a relaxing static pose, untucking those toes, staying on forearms or coming all the way down to your mat. When we're in pigeon pose, it is important to remember that you don't necessarily have to bring your ankle all the way behind your wrist. You can pull it in towards your groin, and that still gives you the same nice stretch without it being too hard on your hips. And on the next breath, coming out of your pigeon pose, bring your hands back towards the mat, tucking the toes underneath you and pushing back to a downward facing dog. Shake it out again. On the next breath in, coming forward to a plank, breathing out, coming down to chaturanga, and in, coming to up dog. Pushing back to downward facing dog. We're going to do that again, but this time coming forward to plank, and as you're coming down to chaturanga, go all the way down to the mat, relaxing down below you. So now we're going to bring the hands to either corner of your mat, coming onto Spider-Man fingers. So we're going to pretend that there's little spiders underneath our hands, like we've got little spider cages, and bringing the elbows up off the floor. And we're just going to come into a few spinal rolls. So as you breathe in, rooting your fingers down into the ground in order to lift us up, we're going to push down and breathe in with our head coming up very last, and breathing out, melting back down towards the ground. Again, head coming last. We're just going to do that 2 or 3 more times. So breathing in, pushing down into the ground. And one last time, breathing up and breathing back towards the mat, relaxing those arms towards the floor. So now bringing those arms to a 90 degree, creating goalposts with the arms. We're going to tuck the chin towards the chest, bringing the forehead to the mat. And we're just going to do some upper back strengthening exercises. So as we breathe in, lifting the arms towards the sky, bringing the shoulder blades together, creating angel wings or cactus arms. Quite a strong movement. And breathing out, releasing that back towards the ground. And we're going to do this 2 or 3 more times. We'll do it 3 more times. So again, breathing in, bringing those arms towards the sky, tucking the shoulder blades together, and releasing them back towards the ground. And again, breathing in, and releasing towards the ground. And one last time, breathing in, squeezing those shoulder blades together and releasing. Bringing your forearms to the mat in front of you, coming into a Sphinx pose, which is a nice light mini back bend. We're going to extend the right arm in front of us, right hand in front of us, and start to thread the left hand underneath that arm. You can bring your head to your shoulder if you like. We're going to bring the right leg up next to us at a 90 degree angle, so still on the floor, just up next to us. And you're going to bring your right hand on top of the left, creating like a crocodile mouth in front of you. And as you breathe in, you're going to start tracing your bottom hand with your top one. Start tracing your arm up and allow your back to move onto the ground as this movement traces over your chest, and bringing your right arm out like a T shape. So if your knee raises off of the floor, that's alright, I know mine does, but keeping your foot on the floor, and this just brings you into a nice spinal roll, which we can enjoy here for a couple more breaths. And tracing back the way you came, so tracing your chest, your arm, and down to your hand, bringing that knee back to the ground. And we'll do that one more time on this side, so tracing the hand again, the arm, the chest, and coming up to a T shape. That nice spinal twist. And coming back the way we came, tracing the chest, the arm, and then the hand. Bringing the right arm back and extending that right leg back, coming back onto our stomachs. We can come back to that nice Sphinx pose. Now I'm just going to flip around to the other side so that I'm not showing my back to you on the other side. But this time we're going to extend the left hand forward, threading the right arm underneath the left hand, and bringing that left leg up to a 90 degree next to you, and creating those crocodile arms again. And just like we did the other side, tracing the bottom hand with the top, tracing the chest, and coming out to a T shape. And going back the way we came. And doing that one more time, tracing the arm, tracing the chest, and staying in the spinal roll for a few moments. And returning back the way we came. Straightening out the bent leg and coming back to a Sphinx pose. We can now roll over onto our backs, bringing the knees pointing towards the floor, towards the ceiling, and your feet on the floor, and bringing the knees towards the chest. Keeping the tailbone on the ground, we don't want to be arching, we just want to be keeping a nice neutral spine. And rocking side to side if that feels nice. And if you would like to, bring your forehead up towards your knees, giving yourself the biggest hug you have all day. And extend out. If you would like to stay here for a bit of a shavasana, please feel free to throw the video on pause. But if you would like to finish the practice, come up to an easy seat, crossing the legs and closing down the eyes once again. Just bringing your awareness back to that breath that we focused on at the beginning of the class. And breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And one more time, in and out. Thank you so much for joining me with this practice today. If you did enjoy it, please let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like this video at the end. I'll see you next time.